Great.
Hey.
Okay, so we have this second session of all the different healing modalities we are talking about. In the last session, Fatehji guided us about different healing practices she performs, practices, and how she is helping us. Today we have Harshita Aluwalia. Harshita is like more into past life regression therapies and related therapies, like related services. So I know her from like last 4 5 years, I guess, and
Yeah.
today she is going to tell us about mainly three different topics: past life regression therapies, family constellations, generational trauma, curses, oaths, and woes. Okay, over to you, Harsh.
Thank you so much, Vishali. Thank you so much. Thank you for the introduction. And let me first start thanking you for organizing these sessions, using your platform, allowing us to share some of the work that we do. So thank you very much for that. And I'll also thank Radhaji for coming up with this brilliant idea to do these sessions. So thank you so much. Thank you. I think we're all learning. I really liked Fatehji's session that I heard. Wonderful. And I'm looking forward to the fewer next ones I think, Radhaji, you're going to be doing. So I think I'm just loving the way, we are expanding our consciousness. So I think that's a great thing. So thank you so much. And thank you, Vishalji, once again for allowing me to, share whatever little I can share.
Right.
Thank you. Okay, how do we start? So generally with past life regression, I'll probably start a little bit with defining or explaining the difference between what a healing session is versus what a therapy session is, right? I think from there it will be nicer to understand and get a fair idea about the different kinds of healing modalities and stuff that exist and that a lot of people follow and work towards, in expanding and helping with human consciousness. So a healing session is primarily where a healer or a medium or a channels the universal life force energy and sends it to the person, the client who needs healing and wants to heal of either any kind of issue, right? So this is where it's more energetic. So any kind of like, let's say, any Reiki healing session or any kind of energy work where the client is in their own space, they are not actively involved, they are just in the receiving mode. So they have to make an intention to receive the healing energy that the healer is sending or the healing medium is sending, whichever way you want to put it, right? And that's how it works. So if you are in the receiving mode, it works. If you block yourself, then it would not work, right? In a therapy session, it's a two-way thing. The client is equally involved as much as the facilitator or a therapist. So there is ownership on the client as well to be present and be there in the session. The client is basically going through, he's talking, experiencing, describing what is happening, and the facilitator or the therapist facilitates the whole session. So it's a guided process. Energy healing session would probably last from anywhere from 5 minutes to about 30, 40 minutes. A healing session, a therapy session, depending on what therapy are you taking. It could be anywhere from 30 minutes to about 2 hours, again, depending on the therapist, the modality that you're using, and so on and so forth, right? So that's primarily the difference between energy healing session or like Reiki or a therapy session like a family constellation or a regression work, an inner child healing or any kind of those, or a cognitive behavior therapy or any of those which involves psychological counseling or any of those things, right? So from there, we go forward. Let's now understand past life regression and past life regression therapy. So these are two different things, right? We generally just say past life regression. And then there are a lot of myths that we carry about what is past life regression, right? Regression as a word is basically going back in time, right? If you literal translation also, if you do regress means to go back. Like we generally don't see that word in a positive sense, but in a therapeutic sense, when we look at it, past life regression therapy is like going back in time and doing a therapy on a trauma which happened in the past. The past doesn't necessarily have to be a past life. It is also past is as good as the previous moment that you just lived. So your childhood, or a few years back, or a few months back, or a few days back, that's also past. Any trauma that probably has happened, which you can go back and help resolve, is past regression. Or so in our therapeutic parlance, the way we differentiate is, if you're going into past life, we call it past life healing. But if you are healing the current life, it's inner child work. Okay? We all have parts of us that during our life, in the current life, we've probably had a lot of traumas that we've been through. Every time a trauma happens, a part of us either freezes or wants to run away or wants to fight, right? Generally, the fight or flight and response to any of our trauma. That is what we call our inner child or inner children. So we heal those inner children, and the resources we get from those children is what brings a lot of healing back to us. Now, when you say past life regression and past life regression therapy, just going and exploring your past is past life regression. So somebody says, I just want to go and know my past. Just want to see my past life for the heck of it. Ideally, a trained therapist would generally prefer not to explore that or venture that. Like it could be, you could, like, let's say if somebody is very keen on just wanting to see a past life, we would probably go and take the person back into some talent life from where you can see what talents you had from that past life and integrate those talents into your current life to help you. But the question that fundamentally I would ask is, why do you want to go and look at your past life? Like, how is it going to help you? If you have a valid, if there's no answer to it, you might as well go to a medium or a psychic and just ask for a past life. They'll tell you. They'll channel into your Akashic records and they'll tell you, right? But if you have an issue in your life, if there are problems, let's say relationship problems, financial problems, health issues, or career issues, job issues, or any kind of problems, whether it is small or big, if you want to work with an issue or heal an issue, that's a good way to go back in time and see from where the issue is coming. It could be either this life, it could be your previous lifetimes. The idea is to go back in time to the core of that life, the life which is your core life, from where the entire trauma started. When we go there, we explore that past. When we start dealing and healing that past, the shifts happen which are visible in your current life. And that's what we call past life regression therapy. That's used as a therapeutic tool. So that's the difference. There are a lot of myths around, past life regression. I generally like to talk more about some of those things. And, I can probably run through some of the questions that I have received over a period of my practicing with regression therapy. Some people may think, oh, I lose control of myself during the session. That's a myth. We don't lose the control. You open your eyes and you're here in the present, here and now. Nothing changes, right? You are as awake as you want it to be. It is just that we are trying to, there is a gentle trance that is default induced when you anyways go to a therapist for a therapy, and your subconscious will show you what it needs to show you about your trauma, about the issue that you've come to a therapist to resolve. Yeah. Another myth or the perception is, what if I get stuck in my past life and never come back? That doesn't happen. Okay, it doesn't happen. You are only seeing it like a movie sometimes, or you may not be even reliving it. It could be a dissociative experience, it could be an associative experience. But the moment you open your eyes, you're here in the now, right? You're right here in the present moment. So you don't get stuck in past life. Okay. Some say that it's not for me because I don't believe in reincarnation. Doesn't matter. You don't have to believe in reincarnation as a concept to heal your traumas. Whatever your subconscious shows you, even if you're creating a story, it creates powerful symbolic stories that are going to reveal your inner truths, that are going to reveal the trauma from where it's coming. So let's say somebody else also says that, what if I'm just making up a story? Fair enough. You've come to a therapist, you're paying a therapist, and you're going for a session, you're just making up a story, doesn't matter. Even if you're making up a story, why is it only this story that you made up? Why not something else? Because that's what your subconscious is showing you in that moment, right? And that's where the seed of your trauma lies. So it's irrelevant if whether you believe in past lives or no, whether you get stuck in that life or no, nothing. That doesn't work. The other perceptions are that it's dangerous and can harm me emotionally. It doesn't. In fact, it does opposite. It brings out the emotions that you're storing from the past and it releases it. Right? The reason I'm doing some of these myths, we're busting the myths right now at the beginning of the session, is because it will help you maybe come up with your own questions and also ask relevant questions that you would want to regards to past life. So some of the questions that you may have might just get cleared with these myth busting that we are doing right now. Okay. Then some of the questions is, what if it's just fantasy or imagination? Like I said, even if it is, imagine whatever you are imagining is something that your subconscious mind is using to draw meaningful patterns. And that's what a therapist does. The therapist's job is to understand and, make meaning out of whatever you're saying. And that's what a good therapist does. And that's how the regression works, right? Can PLR session or a PLRT, predict my future? No, it doesn't. I'm sorry. For that, we have to go to all of you over here, the astrologers, or to go to a medium or a psychic who can tell you those things, right? Does it take too many sessions, or does it take only one session to resolve my problems? Again, the answer depends on how deep-seated your traumas are. It depends on the issue that you're carrying from your subconscious. It depends how many lifetimes you've had a similar pattern running. A lot of these things. So some people may experience deep insights in just one session. Others may need to probably go through multiple sessions. We are peeling a layer of, it's like peeling a layer of onion at a time, right? So you clear one, maybe a deeper emotion would come up, and then you again peel another layer, and maybe you may need multiple sessions depending on the kind of issue that each one of us have, right? So it's very personal journey, whether one or multiple, right? Another very common myth is it's only for spiritually evolved people. It's not for everyone. It is for anybody who comes with an open mind and is willing to, want to solve their issue. It does require you to take responsibility of your life. So from that perspective, you may say that probably, but let's say there's anyways no going away from that, right? If we don't take responsibility of our life, we anyways can't evolve. So there is no bypass. We can't expect that somebody is just going to do, use a magic wand and heal us. And we don't have anything to learn. I mean, it goes against the basic concepts of why we took birth on earth and why we are here, right? Because we are here because we had either karmic entanglement, or we had to learn a few lessons, or we want to just experience life and be the creator of our life through feelings and emotions, right? That's the basic concept of why we souls come down as humans on earth. So if there is an entanglement, a karmic entanglement with someone, if there is a lesson that we need to learn, by just asking, let's say, universe or God or somebody else to just do a magic for us or heal us doesn't help. We have to take responsibility of our lives. When we get to that state is when the true healing starts, right? The awareness comes in. So it's like we generally say, when you become of this, aware of the fact that everything that's happening in my life is my own creation, is when the healing journey starts truly, right? Because in some life or at some point in time, probably we were on the other side of the table. So I'll probably talk about the drama triangle in a bit, but let's probably also go through some more myths. I think most of that I've covered from what I knew people asking me. I think there are a few more questions that people used to ask. That can past life regression tell me who exactly I was in a past life and give me a proof? My fundamental question that I ask is, why do you even want to know? You could have been a very known past life personality, but most of the times I've normally seen ordinary lives. I have not seen a single life of mine where I've been some great personality, honestly. And most of the times people see ordinary lives, right? So the question that I encourage people to ask is, how will it make a difference in your life with these questions, with regards to your past life? If tomorrow I tell you that you were so and so, or let's say you were Queen Victoria in a past life, how does it make any difference to you in your current life? Is it going to make any difference? If the answer is no, there's no point in venturing into that, right? Yeah, you tell me that I have an issue, I have a recurring pattern in my life which I don't seem to be able to solve. Yes, we go back in time to figure out where this is coming from and heal that. Sort that life so that that life no longer impacts you in the current life, right? Uh, Sometimes people, because it's about reincarnation, they also feel that it goes against my religion or faith, and it doesn't, allow me to venture into that. Honestly, if you ask me, I mean, I've lived my life in Dubai for many years, and majority of my clients follow the faith, which does not belong. I mean, who do not believe in reincarnation. But they've all been through multiple sessions, they've all healed their lives, they've done wonderful things with their lives. It doesn't matter. Nobody's asking you to change your faith through this. It's just about self-discovery and self-healing, right? It's not about replacing your faith. So some of the myths as questions which has come to me is what I thought I'll share at the beginning so that we can proceed better. I'll take a pause. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to take that and then we can move forward.
Right. Any questions so far from anyone?
I have, but I don't know if it is right to ask at this point of time or.
It's okay, go ahead.
Okay, then there are two things that I would like to know. Now, when we talk about when you are talking about a story uh, of the past life or multiple connections, whatever it is, how
Mhm.
different is that while in the process of, I'm saying, the regression therapy, how different is that from a dream during the REM state and the dream or the story during a meditative state?
All right. When you are in a therapy session, you have taken an issue.
Hmm.
There's like a agreement between the therapist and the client that this is the issue that I want to work with,
Okay.
right? And we figure out that, okay, this is the issue that you want to work with, and what is the outcome you're seeking out of it. And then with that issue, we go back in time to explore where that issue is coming from and what needs to be resolved. So there is it's like a clear cut road map that you're following. That, okay,
Okay.
this is the issue and this is the issue that I want to deal with. And with that, we go back in time to explore and sort that.
Okay.
In a dream state, your subconscious is throwing up something. Subconscious is trying to make you aware about something that you probably need to heal. Okay? I'll tell you about, since you've touched upon dream, I'll tell you a little more about it. When we sleep, let's say you have a 6-hour sleep.
Okay.
The first 2 hours of your sleep is generally processing dreams that we get. Whatever has happened in our dream, what's in your conscious mind, you're processing it, it's seeping into your subconscious, right?
Mm.
Your last 2 hours is basically where you're kind of venting out the beliefs, the things that you don't really need. So we have this famous thing that, morning dreams are the ones that come true, but that's not actually true. These are the things that we are actually venting out of our system. And we generally call them venting dreams, right? These are the belief systems or the things that you don't need. Your brain, your mind doesn't need to store anymore. You're just taking it off. The center one, the middle two. So if you're in your 6 hours of dream, your middle 2 hours are your critical ones. Pay attention to those dreams. These are the dreams which we call predictive dreams. And these are the dreams which you need to really pay attention to, because this is where your subconscious is trying to tell you something. In case if you go through a repetitive dream, it's a clear indication from your subconscious that you got to deal with this issue. Now, it could be metaphorical, it could be straight away, it could be people from this life that clubbed with something else and a complete hodgepodge story. That's fine. So, but you can take this forward. So you can make dream as your, explore your dream, discuss that dream with your therapist, and then the therapist can guide you into, breaking that up and helping you go back in time and figure out what it is. You can explore it, and if it comes out and tells you something, you can go back and heal it as well.
Okay. And how is this with this stories? I mean, ideally, as Vishal sir keeps saying, when we meditate, it should be a shunya state. But to reach that stage, we have to
Yeah,
be him or someone else, like who has been regularly doing it.
correct.
But people who meditate irregularly, or who do it who are even doing it under guidance in the beginner stage, they have a lot of dreamy state. Body is aware, it's a trance state, right? Body is aware, but
Yes.
we are thinking, and those things are out of the world, that
Correct.
which has no heart there. Okay. So how does this connect to when someone is being guided into a regression? Again, I understand that there is a point of reference there, and in dream state or in this state, there is no point of reference. That
That's
I understand. But how is it connected, or is it even connected?
It is. It will have a similar explanation to what I told you about the dream part, the predictive dreams part, right? In a meditative state as well, you are in a trance state. The trance state is very similar to the state that you are in when you are in a session,
Okay.
right? A session can progress in multiple ways. Either we induce a semi-trance state, or depending on the way the client talks, the therapist would understand that you don't need a induction and you straight away go into exploring. So, but you are basically in a trance state already.
Okay.
So the meditative state is also a semi-trance state, like the theta state, or when you are just about to fall asleep, you are in that state. Or when you're taking a shower, you are in that theta state, right? These are the best times to manifest, by the way. FYI tip, guys. So that's the similar state that we're talking about. Now, in a meditative state, you might also, because you're connected to the higher realms,
Okay.
you can get the messages from the higher realms. And in that, if you're getting a message around, let's say, something related to your issue or the patterns or anything, it's a good thing to take it back and explore.
Okay. Okay. So I have 2 more questions if I'm allowed.
Sure.
Okay.
This
Now,
topic is best explored with a Q&A. So please proceed.
Now, when you mentioned that in any kind of healing, which I have also personally gone through with Fatehjit, I know the openness to the healer,
Mhm.
and the person who is getting healed, that should be there. That part I understand. But being in this field, whoever is doing whatever, we all know that people come with expectations, and people come with a particular mindset, and also people come with the thought that yes, I will be open. If I'm going, I say I will be open to Harshi. But you are the best person to say, has there been any time when yes, people come with openness but they still resist?
Multiple times.
So what
Multiple
brings
times.
that resistance? What brings that resistance?
There could be multiple things. It could be their belief system, it could be their fear of healing, it could be the resistance to change. Like, we love being in a victim state. It's the most comfortable state to be in. Let's be honest about it, right? It could be the trust, the circle of trust between a healer and a client, or a therapist and a client. There could be multiple reasons. There could be their own deep traumas, which are so intense that they don't want to revisit. So there could be different reasons why there is resistance.
Okay.
A healer or a therapist would, counsel the client and prepare them. Like, for me, when I do a healing session, right, apart from the therapy sessions, I also do healing sessions. The quantum healing, transcendental quantum healing, that I'll probably talk about towards the end. When I'm doing the healing, I understand that the person's got their guards up, right? And the energy isn't flowing. So then after the healing session, I'll again counsel the person and talk to the person. Sometimes people are not ready. You can't do much about it. Then you have to give them time. When they're ready, they'll come back to you.
Okay, that's another way. Now, I have another question, but I do not know if this falls under this bracket or not. So I'll just go and ask. If you think
Sure,
it fits, let's go with the flow. If not, we can proceed.
sure.
Okay. Now, like people who are in this field, I mean, particularly doing this in therapy, are mostly psychologists. So they understand a particular uh, functionality of how mind works. But when it comes to healing, it is a trans psychology.
Okay.
Now, if I am your client and I go into a past life regression, and I don't just step into the memories of this life, but memories of some other lives. How do I know that those memories are actually my memories? Because there is also something called collective consciousness.
So, in your session, you're coming up with that story.
Mm.
You're seeing the images.
Mm.
You are describing those to the therapist, right?
Mm.
Maybe it's not yours. In the end, if it's making a difference in your current life, who cares?
Okay.
If it's resolving your problem, it doesn't matter. That's why the focus is, you never focus on the story of the past life. You focus on the learnings you derive out of it, the wisdom that comes out of that life. The focus in any regression session is never on the story. Like, I've done multiple sessions. There are very few stories that probably by now I even remember. And the ones that I
Okay.
remember are probably the shitty ones. Sorry for the language, but
It's okay. Yeah, I
right.
understand.
So the focus is never on the story. We could have been queens of La La Lands, or we could have been a beggar. It doesn't matter. What is
Okay.
the learning from that life that we are carrying forward? What is the unfinished business of that life which is impacting us? What are the karmic entanglements from that life that we're carrying from this life? As long as we get some
Okay.
insights on those, and with that, you live your life further, and it no longer impacts you. My job as a
Okay.
facilitator or a therapist is done. Your job as a client is done.
Okay. So
Yeah.
probably when you will be talking about the family traumas, maybe when I'm talking
Yeah.
of collective consciousness, something flows into it. I'll also get a thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bharti has something to ask.
Sure.
Hello.
You're muted.
Your mic off.
Sorry. So you said something like the morning dreams is what we don't need.
Yeah.
Whereas, the understanding is those are the best dreams and things like that. I don't know if you want to answer this question right now, maybe later, but what is the best way of eliminating these morning dreams? I mean, is it something that's in our control, or, I mean, I can't call a therapist at 4 o'clock in the morning, right? To eliminate those dreams, or so how do you humanly or consciously kind of work on those? Is there a therapy, or is it something that we can work, or we wake up at 4 o'clock so that we don't see dreams at all in the morning? Something like that. So I'm just trying to understand that.
Sure. If this dream is part of your middle part of your dream, then you don't eliminate that. Then you work with that. But if it's part of your last leg of your dream, then you don't worry about it. Let it go. It's out of your system. It's a venting dream. It's leaving your belief system.
So there's
Don't pay
nothing that
attention to it.
you need to do about it, right? It's just. But how do you know these are your thoughts? Because you're just going to wake, you're in the waking up state. And how do you know, like, these are your thoughts which are kind of playing with you, or is it actually something that you are seeing as a dream?
How does it matter? If it's part of your last leg, just let it go. You saw something, let it be. Don't stress about it.
So
If it's
nothing.
part of your middle part of your dreams, that's where you have to pay attention, right? Like I said, if 6 hours of your sleep, if it's between the third and the fourth hour of your sleep, right? So let's say if you've slept at 12 and you're waking up at 6, and at 4 o'clock there's something that you're dreaming, I mean around 4ish, yeah, you pay attention to that. If it's a 5 p.m. dream, I mean 5 a.m. dream or a 6 a.m. dream, let it be. It's okay. Let it go.
And it will go out of your system automatically. That's the way.
It's a subconscious releasing the unwanted belief system. Generally, after therapy, you will see a lot of these venting dreams. So in my practice, we've seen, and generally what we also do is we give suggestion to your subconscious to release these self-limiting beliefs through venting dreams. So when we've worked on a certain issue and we see a pattern coming from past, and when we undo that and we reframe it with a better, a different belief system, a suggestion is also given to vent out these old systems through venting dreams. And that's when you also see a lot of these dreams.
Thank you.
I think Amrita probably had some experiences, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember, or somebody had, but I can't remember. I'm sorry. But yeah, that's how it works, Bharti.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Any other question from anyone so far, or like Harshita can take it forward? Right.
Okay. I'll tell a little more about the different approaches of past life that normally exist, right? Somebody had mentioned about Brian Weiss in the last session. Brian Weiss' way of working is one way of working, which is again very beautiful modality. Brian Weiss was one of the his books. Through his books, a lot of people have understood about this beautiful therapeutic modality, right? So he's a fantastic therapist himself. I mean, he's got this Omega School in US. Now, Brian Weiss' way of working is where becoming aware of the past life concerns and coming to awareness starts healing you. So we don't generally go very deep into the past life exploring the trauma, but the moment you become aware, it no longer impacts your current life. Now that also works, okay? For issues which are probably not very deep-seated, it works. It's fantastic and it's amazing. It's a great tool to work with. Michael Newton is the pioneer into life between lives. That's one of the things that I wanted to talk about, right? So he primarily works with only life between lives, which means going beyond your past lives. It's the space when the soul dies, when a human being dies, where the soul goes and rests, that space. What happens in that space? Your life review, the council that you sit with, looking at how you did in your life, planning your next life. And that is a very, very, very deep work, right? That brings phenomenal amount of understanding, awareness, and that really helps you. You can even go in back in life between lives and understand what your life purpose is. What have you come down to earth in this life to learn? What are the entanglements you need to clear? What are your unfinished business from the past? A whole bunch of things. Why did you take this specific body type? Why did you decide to be born as a woman or a man or anything, right? For what's the kind of, why did I choose these parents? And a whole bunch of things aligned with your life purpose and your life learnings. That's the state that Michael Newton works with. And that's something that we can do in your life between life sessions. And then there is spiritual regression, or rather transpersonal regression, the modality that I also work with, which is the pioneer of that is Hans ten Dam. And he's from Netherlands, and he's another very brilliant master on this planet right now. So his approach is very, very deep. We go back in time and relive certain experiences and ensure it's out of your system, out of your cellular memory. And that's when the true healing also happens. That's the approach that we use as part of the regression. So regression can be done at an awareness level, at a deep level to release your cellular memory, because we know, I mean, it's scientifically proven that memories are stored in our cells of the body. And that's how probably, when we are born with some birthmarks and all, it will take you back to a trauma of the past life. The birthmarks come from the past life, right? So our body stores the emotions across time and space, which is in your subconscious. So transpersonal regression work is it's a work where it's more analytical. You understand, you emphasize on the unfinished business from the past that you're carrying. What is your soul's learning? What are your entanglements? What is impacting in your current life? A whole bunch of those things that you go back in time and resolve. So it basically helps you evolve as a soul, in the sense that it can also take you back to your predator or a perpetrator life, right? So from that perspective, sometimes people say, oh, you shouldn't venture into that. But trust me, the subconscious will only take you back to those lives when you're ready to deal with it. When you've jumped in your consciousness to that level and you're ready to deal with it. Because the true healing will happen when we take responsibility of our lives, not just those lives, but everything that we have done across time and space. We are not always just the nice person that we probably sometimes think, right? So we carry a lot of baggage. It's just that a series of victim lives that we probably live, and when it's time, your soul says, okay, enough, you've had enough of victim lives, it's time to go and heal. You start on your healing journey, any kind of healing modality or therapeutic modality, and it will take you back to your perpetrator lives, I promise you. But by then, you would be ready to deal with it. And that will bring a true shift in your soul's consciousness. And it's very, it's like a very free feeling. It's very, I don't know what's the right word for it, but it truly frees you from within. Yeah.
Liberating, if we say so.
Liberate. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's very liberating feeling. Because I'll tell you what, the lives that we live, generally, let's look at this like a triangle, right? At one tip of the triangle is, let's say, victim. One tip is the rescuer, and one tip is the perpetrator or persecutor. As souls, all human lives, we fall in one of these three roles. We are either playing constantly a victim, or we are being a perpetrator to someone, or we are being a rescuer to someone. Even in your current life, you could be living all these three roles with different people, right? I could be a rescuer to my mom because my mom keeps getting irritated with my dad doing a bunch of things and I keep rescuing her, right? I could be a perpetrator to somebody else, let's say one of my team member in, let's say, in my office, who feels that, oh, I'm a witch with two horns and I just keep troubling him or her. And I could be a victim myself saying, oh my God, this person is just killing me. I just can't live with this person. Or, we could be anybody in any of the. But the realization when it happens that, shifting from being a victim to taking responsibility of your life, shifting from being a rescuer to a coach, and shifting from looking at somebody as a perpetrator to somebody who's actually helping you evolve as a soul, or like we can say challenger. Like he's not a perpetrator, he's just helping you on your journey by playing that role, and that's a role that we've asked that person to play in our life, right? So when we understand that triangle in a different way is when we start looking at life also differently. Please let me know if you have any questions around this, or if I'm making sense, I'm not making sense. It's absolutely okay to say you're not making sense. But anything.
Makes sense.
Thank you.
But I'm trying to connect it to astrology side by side.
In fact, I will say that in the end, that there's something that I'm working. I was telling Sir as well that, my fascination to come into astrology was to understand past life astrology.
Fine. Okay.
Right? And to map the charts with the healing journey of the client. So there's something that I would probably seek some help from you guys, because I understood that I'm not a good astrologer. I did not do very good with that. So I'm going to need some help from you guys to help me do that kind of mapping. Is something that I'm working on.
Right. Ajit has a question.
So I have this question. You mentioned that uh, in life between lives, when the soul is in the resting place, uh, you decide what your life purpose is, and you also choose your body, parents, and this life.
Yeah.
So is it something that the soul does, as in it chooses the circumstances in which it's born? Is it true, or
Yes.
is it just like that someone else decides it for us?
No, we decide as a soul. So when we are in that resting phase, the interlife space, what we can call it, right? So when we are in the interlife space, I think the first thing that we do is review our life that we've just lived. And nobody tells us that you've done wrong, you've done wrong, you've done wrong. And all of this I can tell you because I've personally gone through my session. So it's not something that I've just heard. It's something that I've been through in the session. And also some of my clients who've been through in that session have said the same thing, right? So we go through our life, we see ourselves, we figure out that what we did right and what we could have done better. And what is it that we want to redo, right? Now, how much you rest, how much you don't rest is something that you decide as a soul along with your council. There are a group of higher divine beings who help you with it. There are angels, there are beings of the higher realm in that interlife space who helps us on this entire decision making, right? So at that time, depending on when we are taking our next incarnation and what learning we want to come down in that, what's the learning that we want to come down with, depending on that, we decide who would be the best fit as my parents, who would be the best fit as my siblings, who could, play the role of my spouse, my friends, and what will they do. Some people you place them to, let's say, trouble you, the perpetrator story that we were talking about. Because the reason you place them there doing that role is so that they help you come out of the issue and learn your lesson. Let's say if I have to give an example, if the lesson that you want to learn is unconditional love, experience that what is unconditional love. You might probably choose parents who don't express love, who don't express emotions, poker face. And that's how your upbringing happens, and probably you start becoming like one, and then through the journey of your life, you break those myths, and then you learn what unconditional love is all about. Amit, I think, Ajit, I've forgotten the question that you asked, but I don't know if you can repeat if I've not answered
Yeah.
your question.
No, it's fine. It's just very ironical in nature because when you blame the higher power for your situation and circumstances, it's you who decided that in the first place. So it's difficult to digest, but
Yeah.
okay.
But that's what happens, in a session when you see it yourself. And that's where sometimes a regression session is a lot more powerful than a healing session, right? Because a healer can tell you something, a medium can tell you something, but here you're seeing it yourself, you're experiencing it, you're reliving it, you're feeling it in your body. So then there is nothing that is not real for you, right? It's your first-hand experience. That's when the awareness comes. When the awareness comes, the acceptance comes. When the acceptance comes, you no longer blame anybody else. We understand that we are the creator of our own lives. It's like when we say, Aham Brahmasmi, right? I'm the creator of my own life. And we are all the unconscious gods who are trying to create our own lives across time and space. The day the enlightenment happens, we'll be as good as the higher realms up there, the divine beings.
Thanks. That's helpful.
Thank you, Ajay.
Right. Miraji?
Miraji, you're
you-
muted.
Yeah, one sec. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I wanted to hear a real life example from your past between lives. Not, you don't have to give the person's name, just an example
Mm-hmm.
of what they saw, how they related it to their life, any healing that occurred. Because we can hear all the theories, but we want to know, like, what is a practical example?
Sure. You're looking at specifically the between lives example?
Yes, please.
Okay. I'll tell you about my own example, right? When I started my journey into healing, I was 18, and I'm talking about 27 years back. I don't mean to tell you my age, but yeah, that's what it is. Back when I was 18, I got into Reiki, the traditional Reiki. That's the first time this whole healing world came into my life. And I went on to becoming the grandmaster, and I did fantastic. I picked up magnet therapy, color therapy, and a whole bunch of other therapies at that time while I was studying. And then when I started working a normal job for various reasons, and there comes where I meet the person with whom I have my karmic entanglements, my husband, my future husband, because at that time I just meet that person, right, at a job place. And the trajectory of my life changes completely. And I'm pushed back into the healing journey after a good 20 years. And that's when the whole thing starts, and this whole regression work and a whole bunch of things comes into my life. When I did a life between life session, I wanted to understand why this break. And it clearly helped me understand why I chose this entire plan, why I chose this entire structure of my life path, because I had to meet certain people in life, have my closures with them, meet my husband through work, because I had a lot of work-life karma, which I had to close. One of them being with him, and then the continued journey on the personal life with him. And then once a lot of that entanglement was sorted, I got back into this journey and life started moving. That life between life session gave me clarity on why I chose my parents, go through some financial issues, concerns, troubles, where I had to get into a job despite getting into the healing world. Because if I had got into that, I would have been sitting with a whole spa and a healing center, which I'd clearly thought of that that's what I'm going to do. Never get into a job. But I had to get into a job situation because I had karmas there. And I had to meet my husband through one of the jobs and clear up a lot of entanglements through him with a whole bunch of people. And then when all that cleared, I was put back onto the healing journey, not out of conscious choice, but an unconscious choice. And what I mean by that is when past life regression or this clinical hypnotherapy and transpersonal regression came into my life, it was through a dream where I felt like somebody was knocking on my forehead and telling me, just go and look at that email. Randomly half groggy at 4 p.m. in the morning, 4 a.m. in the morning, and just forwarded some emails to my work work email ID. Forgot everything about it. When I reached my office and I looked at my work emails, I realized something like this had happened. One of the emails was about this course that was happening starting that weekend. I just went, I looked for the course, I found it interesting, I enrolled, and then that's how the journey started.
Mhm. So what was the purpose of your life in this? Then did you get any insight?
I did. And I'm living my purpose.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
And we can talk about that more on a one-to-one level.
Okay, sure.
Right. If I just add, like Osho also says that life is paradoxical. The main thing is that suppose if I have a father who is not responsible enough, it is giving me the best opportunity to become a responsible person. Okay, so like as I also say, like if I need to become a patient and calm person, I should be surrounded by idiots. Then only I can be become, right?
Well said.
So that is
Absolutely.
the whole thing. Like the whole life is paradoxical. So in a way that like irresponsibility from my father is helping me to become a responsible person.
Absolutely.
And
That's absolutely well said.
Yeah, that's how we realize our potentials also. Right.
True. It's like
Please
what we
continue.
have to learn, whatever we come down to learn, this circumstances that we create around us is exactly opposite to what we have to learn.
Right.
Because if it was same as what we have to learn, we don't need to come down on earth. Right? We can do that up there in the higher realms.
There is a reel of Morgan Freeman, if anyone has seen it on Instagram and all. If someone is praying for money, do you think God will give him money or opportunity to make money? So that is it. Please continue, Harshita.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, that is our truth. If anybody would like to share anything, we can probably do that and then probably move to family constellations if there are no questions with past life regression therapy.
Me to go now?
You can.
I think I am the living proof of how a healing session, or the kind of wonder the healing sessions can bring. And I believe the journey started with Vishal sir's astrology classes when we wanted to find our life's purpose, why were we born, and we learned to look at the Rahu and Ketu's node, where your Rahu and Ketu is placed, right? And I was so bogged down, and so my Rahu is placed on 5th house, my Ketu is placed on 11th house. Why you were shaped a person like this, and why we are different from other? Even we are Homo sapiens, we have pair of limbs, eyes, nose, ears, lips, teeth. We look alike, right? All of us feature wise, unlike the birds and the animal species. we look alike. So, but we have inner animals, inner birds living within us. And I think the astrological journey is kind of a prelude to my healing journey that it started. I wanted to find my life's purpose, why I am like this, and why I'm not different, and why I'm different than other person, and why my obsessions are different, and what I want to do, and that is also unable to match from your obsession to what you want to do in life, right? So Vishal sir asked me to get in touch with Harshita, so that because I wanted to access my past life expertise and want to apply it on my this life, because I want to gain mastery. I wanted to be the best in what I do. And that's how I met Harshita. And I had several issues going on in my life, be that personal life. I was obsessed with love. Of course, just like any woman or a man want to find their life partner, love partner, a loving partner. And Rahu being on in my fifth house made or gave me a lot of illusion about love, right? Um, so that's how we met. I wanted to find answers to those, and the first session, I remember still the first session, I have been very resistive to let Harshita in, because you don't know the person, you have a lot of inhibition, and you also don't know yourself, right? Just like all the questions Harshita was talking about. I mean, all the traumas that you are unknowingly carrying all over your life, not only past life but also this life, and you don't know them at all. So the journey began, and then slowly and steadily I think both of us have opened up. And what she has taken me, not only she has done healing of my this life, but she has healed my mother's womb, right? So I think that is a greatest thank that I had to give it to her. We choose our parents, and we choose our parents because we had our own learnings to do in this life, right? Like all of us were saying, and we know that all the entire soul choose their journey for their parents. Now, I didn't receive unconditional love from my mother, right? And there are several reasons. Rahu is in Cancer. Rahu is in my fifth house, Cancer, right? And it has created another kind sort of illusion. And I was not knowing that I was not receiving an unconditional love from my mother. Though I felt this is not a typical mother-daughter relation. I see my friends, my relatives, my cousins, how loving their mothers are, how protective their mothers are. I don't feel any. I never felt any such kind of an affection from my mother. But deeply, very deeply rooted there, she also didn't know about it, right? And there are very the reasons were she had a loss of her own brother when she was adolescent, and she was extremely attached to her own brother, and it has created, perhaps she was kind of a mother to her brother, and it has created a stagnancy in her womb space. So when I was born, she could not hold my energies, the daughter that needed to be created. But it was very different for my sister, and she was a obsessive mother to my sister, but not to me, right? So how can one person, one parent, be different to two of her own children? Because I was carrying her trauma through her womb space when I was born. And she would have connected me to the loss of her brother, who she was kind of a parent figure in since their childhood days, right? So that kind of trauma, I mean, she didn't know, I didn't know, but when Harshita healed her own space, and through me, of course, through me, I found my mother back. I think this is the greatest blessing to have, to, for a child and to a mother. That is one. Second, I'm still talking about accessing all our past life expertise. Like she was saying, past life regression therapy. I would say therapy is the better way to do it. You will get visions of your past life, what you were an expert, how you lived your life, and why you are like this in this life. And you can flip the switch, right, in this life, what you needed to do and why you have taken this birth. All of it will come back through the sessions. And intention is a right word. It is an agreement um, uh, between the participant and the healer before the session, or even many days before the session. One needs to take what do you need healing of, and your subconscious, even if you decide on healing something, but you will exactly go where your subconscious mind will take you. So I also had a very strong speech problem. I could not speak what I would think. And even if I had multiple innovative ideas, I would not be able to express it. I would say my Saturn and Mercury is in seventh house. So whenever these combinations happen, it will inherently give you a speech problem. I also started speaking very, very late in my childhood, right, because of this combination. So much so that my parents thought I might have issues for speaking. So they took me to the pediatrician, and she told me, she's just lazy, stop coddling her. You I mean, I lived in a joint family with 15-20 members, immensely loved, right? So I it's just with a lift of finger the world is at my feet. So I never needed to speak to get things done. So, but it worked against while I grew up in my professional career, job, and everything. So, but then she took me to an incident when I was just in 8 or 9 years old in a school, a very traumatic experience that has happened, and I didn't realize it has created so much of trauma. And neither I knew that it has created so much of trauma. It is just an intention that I want to heal my speech. I want to regain. So if I was an expert in speaking in one of my past life, why not I have that same power now? Right. So I wanted to regain that power, and why it is holding me back, and what is the reason it is holding me back. So she took me to that, we made an intention. It took me to that instant in when I was just 8 and 9 years old. Kind of a traumatic experience that has happened to me in the school, right? I didn't remember, neither I could identify that would have created so much of trauma that it has hampered my speech and my confidence and the ability to speak fearlessly, right? So I believe that, so those kind of amazing things that has opened up, and one can disconnect, one can reconnect, but so it is a myth that your regression, in your regression therapy, all your past life memories will stay back with you. Yes, you are doing it consciously and with the help of your subconscious mind, and it will clear up many things and which you don't even know, right? So those kind of help I have received. And like Vishal sir says, anyone ask me about love, relation, marriage, I discourage them, right? so, so and you get answers to all of these. I mean, why do you need your, I mean, our soul doesn't need a mate, right? It is a, I think English literature myth that one requires a soulmate to be fulfilled. It is your body that needs a mate, not your soul. And I believe I think the greatest blessing after my mother's womb was healed. It was last year, perhaps during Durga Puja, just around this time, last year or last year, last to last year perhaps. And I was in a pandal in on the day of Navami at the feet of the mother. And I was sitting there was Homa happening, Yagya happening, and mantras was chanting. I was not at my place. I was in some in different city, different state for work. And so at that time the Pandit asks us, to cover our heads. I was luckily wearing a sari, and I was just sitting there and just preparing for the chant and the shlokas and the offerings that we had to make with flowers. And at that point of time, it was so powerful. I think that is the time I realized I have a womb that has a potential to create immense. Uh, immense opportunities. So it's not only that we are being a woman, we are born to give birth to human beings, but we are born to give birth to many novel things, right? It could be an initiative, it could be an idea, it could be many things that we can give birth to. So I think that kind of spiritual journey that she has set me up, and it has only taken a quantum leap from them. So there is no looking back, and immensely grateful to both Harshita and Vishal sir. That I think finding your life's purpose is very essential, because I don't want to take and come back in that cog of rebirth again and again and again and again. So liberation is essential um, for every soul. I think that's how we or perhaps beyond liberation. If there is a world beyond liberation, we might want to reach there. So yeah. So I'll stop here, and unless you have any questions.
Right. If I talk about like my experience of my session with Harshita is that we may be amazed to go back to those memories which we forgot that those events happened, that a teacher has slapped you in classroom, and in that moment you forgot it, but it remained in your unconscious or subconscious mind, and somehow the energy got blocked there, and it is not letting you progress further in life. So such type of like experience I had when I had a session with Harshita, and that was also very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Amrita. I just want to add a few things, because when they were talking, some things came up. This inner child healing that I spoke about, which means healing your current life, it's so powerful. And I'm telling you, it's more powerful than even healing your past life, right? Uh, because when a part of us is stuck in the past, in that particular episode, it means a little part, like Sir said, right? Our energy is stuck over there. So as an adult, we are not functioning as a full-fledged current age adult, right? And at times when the situations in life are very similar to that episode, that younger version of you takes over. And many times we feel that, oh, why did I behave so childish at that time? That's because that younger one is taking over the life. It's like you're driving a car and there are many younger versions of you sitting everywhere. And suddenly a younger one will hijack and take the steering wheel of your life. Right? And you're in no control as an adult. You behave like a child. But that's when you go back and think, why did I behave like this? Something resonating. And when you go back, you'll find that an episode triggered, an episode happened, which gave you a trauma. And in that trauma, multiple different emotions probably you've experienced. Like Sir said, like if a teacher slapped you, in that moment you felt angry, you felt sad, you felt shame, you felt like you don't want to see anyone, you felt you want to slap back to the teacher, a whole bunch of emotions that you felt, right? And with each emotion, a part of us gets stuck. And that's what keeps repeating in our lives again and again. And then the trajectory of our life goes somewhere else instead of going straight. So when we start healing those younger versions of us and the traumas that we've had in the current life, and that when you work with an issue, it will take you back to that event. So you don't need to remember any of your traumas. The issue will take you back saying, oh, this issue in your life, in your current life, is because of this episode. Maybe you start healing that is when you're no longer affected. Then the steering wheel is in the control of the adult you, the present age you. Then it's no longer driven by the younger versions of you. I think Pulkit, you had raised your hand. I'm sorry if you want to ask.
Yes, ma'am, I did raise my hand. Actually, I had a couple of questions, but Amrita was actually telling us this story. So, yeah,
Thank
so I
you.
did not want to intersect in between. तो मैम मेरा बहुत सवाल बेसिक सा है and my question is quite simple.
जी.
Actually, uh, more often than not, once you go to a doctor or a therapist, sometimes it is, I think, it is sometimes presumptuous on the part of the therapist or the doctor to assume some sort of trauma that he thinks that you might have had in your adulthood years or in your. And in my case, I don't think it was really that apparent, or sometimes one can't be objective about oneself, right? Because like Amrita said, it's so subtle or it's so insignificant at that point of time that you don't quite recollect and remember once the doctor asks you that question. So that was the first thing I wanted to say, because I mean, I've gone to allopathic doctors as well as homeopathic doctors for my bipolar condition, and the first question that they asked me was that, did you have something, an incident or something growing up? And to that extent, my childhood was very unremarkable. I mean, it was just like a normal childhood. And the second question which I wanted to come towards was, like this mediums like you, I mean, I'm guessing that you have this gift, right? This extra sensory perception that you have. So, uh, I mean, I've heard this in movies and stuff that you have this ability of talking to people who have passed on in life, right? So, does that actually happen, or is that a gift that some people have, or is that in the realm of make believe? That is my first question, ma'am. Would you like to answer that?
Okay. So is this the first question or the one that you asked ahead was the first one? Which one do you want me to answer first?
Then you can ask, I mean, answer them in any order, please.
Okay. So I'll start with the first one that you said, right? Connecting to the regression work and all. Any incident, it's not necessary that you would remember. So when doctors ask, or when therapists ask, or a psychologist would ask, you may not remember that. And that's fair and that's fine, right? What happens, what's the best thing about this therapy is the inner child work or a regression work is that you don't need to remember. It's not the memory work. Your subconscious will throw those images, or you will sense it, or you will feel it. You may not be a seeing type. Like I'm not a seeing type. I don't see images, but I sense it, I feel it, I smell it. Somebody else will see it clearly, right? So depending on the clairs that you have of the clair which works for you, you will experience it. You don't have to remember anything. And it will take you to something which happened, basis which you would have concluded that episode in a certain way, and basis that you've decided something, a decision is made, and then you implement that decision which takes your life in a certain trajectory. That's how generally the things work, right? So it's fine. There's no memory work, right? And trust me, when the doctors ask or the therapist asks, it's fair to say that I don't remember anything. And it's absolutely okay. But in a session like this, a regression work, without having to remember, your subconscious shows you. And that's when the healing happens. And that's why it's very powerful, right? This modality is powerful because of that. When I was going through this curriculum, I had two psychiatrists who are very good friends of mine, and they were doing this course. I had a lot of psychologists who were doing this course. So I've learned one of the teachers with whom I did my level 2, 3, 4 is a medical doctor, right? He no longer practice medical doctor. I mean, he no longer does allopathy. He just does regression work. I'm more than happy to give you his name, Dr. Sodi, Rupinder Sodi. You can look him up. He's also now moved to Abu Dhabi and has his own setup, right? Yuvraj Kapadia, who's my mentor and with whom I studied, this curriculum is now taught in the University of San Diego Medical School. The doctors are learning this curriculum. The doctors are imbibing this whole curriculum and using this because this is a far better and a faster mode of healing than what an allopathy can think of. Now, don't take me wrong. If you have a headache, you have to go to a doctor and take a pill. You don't go to a therapist and say, why am I getting a headache? Or heal my headache. If it's a recurrent headache, and if there's a pattern in your life, then we go back in time and see why you have a headache like this or a migraine, right? So there are things for which you will do traditional form of therapy, I mean, allopathic treatment and all. Let's say if there's a cancer, you have to do allopathic treatment, but you can do these modalities, because then with that, when you release those emotions because of which there is an impact which is caused cancer in your body, it no longer then impacts. The energy is released. The energy which has caused this cancer in your body, when that is released, it no longer affects you. And then your allopathic treatment starts responding much better. And then you get into that healing journey much faster. Yeah. Before any disease gets into physical form, it seeps into all our other bodies. We have a thought body, the causal body, under which we have an astral body, which we call the emotional body, which stores our emotions. And then the prana body, the auric body, the aura, and then it seeps into the physical. So by the time it gets into the physical body, it's already deep-seated. So it starts from our thoughts. Thoughts become emotions. Emotions become our energy. And the energy manifests as an issue or disease in our body.
Right.
So sometimes the physical issues takes much longer, right? Coming to your second question, I don't do mediumship, but yes, there are a lot of wonderful souls on this planet who do, and it is right. I mean, it's not bogus. You might come across people probably who may not give you the answers that you want or something like that. I don't know. I've not personally taken any session for talking to the passed on loved ones or anything. But yes, you can do it. I did go through a session or a course with Rusbe Barucha, who's a wonderful medium himself and teaches auto writing. He's written a lot of books. He's a Sai Baba. He channels Sai Baba. And I've personally learned from him, but it did not become my calling. So I did not pursue that. But there are a lot of people who do it. And honestly, let's say if you are grieving a loved one, you would not come to me and do a regression therapy. I would advise you to go and talk to a medium who can help you with that, right? Because that's what is going to bring you peace when your loved one, your loving soul will come and give you some message. Maybe that will help you in that moment.
Right. Thank you for this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fatehjit does it. Like Fatehjit.
Yeah, Fatehjit does it.
Right. Regarding Rusbe Barucha, his main book is like the Fakir. Okay, that book also can help on the questions which Ajit was asking. I was thinking about quoting it. Now his name has come up. So Ajit, you can also look at that book, The Fakir by Rusbe Barucha. It is on Sai Baba. Many of your questions will be like answered there. It is trilogy.
Yeah. And Rusbe himself is a wonderful soul. I mean, I've done auto writing with him. I've studied auto writing. Like I tried, I was one of the one that he listed when he was visiting Dubai. We did a workshop with him. Beautiful,
Right.
Wonderful soul. And his books can give you a lot of insights.
Right. Yeah. Any other question, or we can move to family constellation?
I wanted to share something before responding to Pulkit's answer, but I think I've forgotten. But that's fine. If I remember something, I'll come back. Okay. If no questions on path life regression therapy, and if we've all mastered that, yay, let's go to another one. Family constellations, like this is another beautiful modality which was developed by Bert Hellinger. He was a German, and he passed away a few years back. What he understood as part of his practice is that a lot of entanglements from the family that we have, right? There are a lot of things that we carry as baggage from our ancestors. There are traumas which are intergenerational, right? So family constellation is a therapeutic method which helps you explore the hidden dynamics to resolve your deep-seated personal and intergenerational trauma, the ancestral traumas, the ancestral curses or oaths or vows that are flowing through and impacting the current generation. How it works? It can be done in a one-on-one setting, but it's generally done in a group setting, right? So let's say all of us over here are gathered together for a family constellation session, and let's say Amrita is our client, right? She wants to heal an aspect, she takes an issue. Let's say she wants to clear up the energetic entanglements from her current family. So on the field, we will place somebody to represent Amrita, somebody to represent her mother, somebody to represent her father, somebody to represent her sisters, her sibling. And from there, we start. We generally use those little figurines, little humans that we call, because in person, when you do, you're placing physical people, right, on the field. And it is the field, the wisdom of the field that shows you what the entanglements are through the movement. So this is a therapy of movement. With every movement, there is energetic shift in your relationships that's happening. It's a bit difficult to explain family constellation as a concept, but I'll tell you what. I recommend watching the series on Netflix, which is called Another Self. This series is very beautifully showing how family constellation works. It's a Turkish series. You can change the language and watch that. It's one of the most beautiful modalities which can also work as a diagnosis for where your traumas are coming from, and if these are ancestral in nature, and then you go back and heal from that ancestor and allow the flow of love to flow. It basically, what happens is, I mean, we know that the flow of love, any kind of healing, whether it's past life regression or energy healing like a Reiki or family constellation, the ultimate goal is to find balance, restore balance in our life, and to allow the flow of love, yeah, in our system, in our lives. Family constellation does that wonderfully well. So all the blockages which is happening through okay, let me try and explain this a little better. Let's say there are 4 members in the family. We just took Amrita's example. She, her sister, her mom, and her brother. Now, when we place them on the field, there's an order. Let's say if Amrita is the elder child and her sister is the younger one. But if somebody starts taking role of somebody else, let's say this younger sister starts playing the role of an elder sister, there is a entanglement in the flow of energy, in the flow of love. If mother starts playing the role of a father, and if father starts playing the role of a mother, that creates a problem in the energetic field. And that's where all issues at a family level happens. The karmas built at the family level, the collective karmas that Moshmi you were talking about some time back, right? A whole bunch of those entanglements start off. Family constellation through movement detangles all these energetic blockages, and then it allows the flow of love in the right fashion from like dad to mom to elder one to the younger one, and so on and so forth. Or wherever any other issue, let's say if you take a physical issue and from there, whatever turns up, when the flow of love happens in the right direction, when the movement happens of the energy, the shifts happen in your life. Again, probably it's a bit difficult, but I'll invite you whenever I'm doing a next family constellation session, I'll send you guys a link to observe. Come and observe that session. It'll give you a good insight. But any questions on family constellation, I'm happy to respond.
So actually, what
So,
you did
like,
with me, so sorry, please go ahead.
please ask them, I guess.
Yeah, so actually, what you did with me is kind of a family constellation healing, right? But we never meant to do that. I mean, we never thought about that when going in the session, but it happened automatically, perhaps because my subconscious mind took me there.
Because you have your entanglements with your parents as well, right? So
Right.
a lot of times in certain kinds of issues, surrogacy is also used as a way to do the healing, like a regression session, right? A 5-year-old cannot do a regression session, or somebody who is bedridden probably cannot do a regression session, but somebody can be a surrogate to them and do a regression session. In your sessions also, when your parents come up and the entanglement with them comes up, and if their story is very, very traumatic and deep, I, as a therapist, would want to heal them, because your entanglement, you as a client, my role is to ensure that you get solution of your issue. So if that is entangled with your parent, whose trauma is very deep seated, then we solve that also, we close that also, so that the flow happens, and it makes a difference in your life. So yeah, we can do that through regression also. When do we use family constellation? When you are not ready to go under trance and see things yourself. In that case, somebody else who is representing for you will feel it and say what they are feeling. When we also do family constellation, when you don't trust your own insights that you get in a session. Oh, I just made up a story. That's not true. That can't be. So then you allow somebody else to represent you. And when you are in a representation state, the energy of that person channels through you, flows through you. So it's like you're teleported in a different situation. You no longer, let's say if Amrita, you are representing somebody, you're no longer Amrita at that time. You are getting thoughts, emotions, feelings, impressions of whoever and whatever you're representing. And that's how beautiful the client sees where the entanglement is, what's happening. And that's how it brings wisdom and clarity in their energy field. So yeah, Amrita, in a way, Beta also did your family cleansing. Thank you. So you
It
have
was
a question.
kind of the initial sessions that we did. I think you were right. I must have been resisting myself to get into those that subconscious zone that you needed me to. I think that's how it came up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
So,
Radhaman?
Yeah, thank you. Harishi, seems you're very passionate about this treatment. And also the other person that spoke last time, I forgot her name. What was her name?
Patejit.
Yes, very, very good. Is she here today? I got to see her. Anyways, it was very, we both are very passionate about healing, and that's a great gift on its own. I wanted to say, you just said something and said when the mother, correct me if I'm didn't say it properly.
Sure.
Did you mention mother takes the role of a father, father takes the role of the mother? Did you say something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in normal sense, that's not a bad thing, but you can see that in a chart. That's why I like Jyotish. I mean, I was never great or loving Jyotish. I just love it because of my husband and Swamiji. And when you study Jyotish, you see directly, if you practice a lot, you see directly a lot of karmic debts, right? That means see, life is never about you are here to take and it's only enjoyment. Of course, it's all about that. We all want to enjoy, but it's all about balance. So when you look at the Jyotish chart, to me, Jyotish chart is the map of the heaven of yours, what you are came with. So I'm trying to understand when you said that, that's not a bad thing. That's okay. Mothers and fathers are there to provide for you. So, but if the father comes, something happens in a family, the father is out, fell out, dead, whatever. usually you find in this such things you see, and Swamiji can correct in here, the moon is like in the ninth house. Usually you can tell something has happened, that the mother had to take the role of the father. But that doesn't have to be traumatic. It could be traumatic. So can you elaborate on that? I mean, it's not a bad thing if a mother takes the position of a father. It's fine. It's not a bad thing.
Sure. So,
Saying it
sure, I'll help you understand. When I said that, I'm not referring to a trauma, right? I'm referring to orders of love, how the energy flows, and the role that each one of us play. When I decided to play to come down as a sibling who has elder daughter and a younger brother, then there is a reason why I chose to be a middle child. And there is a role that I have in the family as a middle child. So I'm not the elder one, I'm not the younger one. When I stay in my energy and when I play my role is when the energy flows. But if I become an elder child, unconsciously I am telling my elder sibling that you're no longer needed. Okay? So you are stepping into their shoes and not allowing them to do their role. Energetically, what it also can do is a lot of diseases can manifest because you're not given the right place in your family tree, in your family system. When we go and look at certain extreme cases, let's say we call somebody black sheep of the family, and that person is, taken off the family system. Somebody else in the family will take that energy and represent that person. So that one person who's taking on to the other person's energy is playing a dual role, and that's not healthy. Each one of us have a role. A mother's role is to nurture the family, a father's role is to protect the family, right? That's how the energies are. We live in duality on earth, right? A feminine role, a masculine role. There are roles that each one of us have. When these roles are swapped, it creates energetic imbalance in the family, which can manifest in different forms. And each form is unique to a person. It can be a financial issue, a relationship issue, it can be physical health issue, it can be anything and everything. Where I'm coming from is basis the experience. When we go back with an issue, explore. We start with an issue, we explore, and we see what the field shows us through representations. When we clear up this energetic entanglements and allow the flow of love to flow, allow the energy to flow in the right sense that it has to, that's when the healing starts and the changes in the family system happens. Sometimes when the father is unwell, the elder child suddenly becomes head of the family and starts taking that role and behaves like a father, or let's say if there's an abusive relationship between a husband and wife, the child takes the role of a protector. That's not healthy, that's dysfunction, right? That's not how a family system is supposed to be. Now, again, when you go back and look at a soul level, we chose that family for the learnings. So all that will come up in some form or other in your session. That's what your chart will show. Your Jyotish chart, your natal chart will show that that's what you've chosen. And that is why I love to, blend the chart with my client files, right? To go back and explore. It will show you the entanglements that you carried from your chart and the learnings that you're bringing, which will come up in your sessions and you will start healing. And once that happens, like Sir says, the planet doesn't mature, we mature. And when we mature, the karma, when we end the karmas of that planet, it no longer affects us in that sense that it will play its role, but we won't be affected with it.
Beautiful. So you do use the charts, the Jyotish charts, to see how you can, which angle you can take to heal. And that's beautiful. But you also said, see, basically you are, listen to you.
I think you're trying to implement a foundation. You need to have a foundation. Like you just said, also should be like this and should, nothing has to be should, because this is a world, it's a samsara with many multiple situations. We came here because, as you mentioned, to learn, to give, all that stuff. You have everything, but the chart shows directly what is what. And basically we're touching a very sensitive point here, which is dharma. And in life, we forgot what our dharma is. So when you say mother's role, you're saying, I'm just trying to understand, right? What from your point, but I think we mean the same way. Same thing. Mother has a dharma, father has a dharma. But you see, not always the mother will be functional or the father will be functional. So they may skip certain dharmas, right? But that also you chose that. So when people come knock your door, they are receptive. When there is no receptivity, they're not going to heal, right? So the fact that they come to you and they know they're going to do it, so it's good. So the dharma, how do you tell that person this is your dharma? In normal sense, this is your dharma, but does people accept that? I mean, not everybody wants to be I am right, right? You're not right. But the thing is, when everybody knows the dharma, that everything is in a flow. So how do you tell that to the person?
Radhaji, I don't go into the conversation of dharma with anybody. Somebody's come to me with an issue. They say that, okay, I have, let's say, LBS, or I have diabetes, I have high blood pressure I want to heal, I have relationship issue that I want to heal. I don't go into dharma conversation with them. We go back and see where the trigger is. We go back and see from where the free flow of energy or love stopped. Where did the issue start from? Where did the entanglement happen? What stopped that flow? The flow of healthy relationship, or the flow of a healthy body, or the flow of healthy finances. Where did that stop? We just go back in time over there, see what's the unfinished business of that time, either our life or the current life. Heal that. There's a whole there's a way of doing it. That's what we do in therapy. So there's a whole structure around it. And when we release those stored emotions, energies, which were blocking that entire flow, it starts flowing normally in your life. And then that's how it makes a shift. So between two sessions, I normally encourage 2 to 3 weeks of gap to observe how it's going. And then if you feel another layer of an onion needs to be peeled, we go into another session. Or if you want to pick up another issue or something else, because each trauma can be multi-layered, multifaceted. So I don't go into conversations of dharma. That is for each individual to figure out their own dharma, because the perception of dharma is very different for all of us, right? For me, dharma is something else. For somebody else, it could be somebody else.
I understood. I didn't mean it like that, because you mentioned the word should, and should is so, related to kind of what you have to do. So that's why. So don't worry, I understood. I got your point. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mikkel G wants to ask something.
You're muted, Mithil, if you're talking. Can you unmute yourself?
Miraji.
Mithil, I think. Mithil has raised the hand. Yeah, you're unmuted.
Can you all hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't have a question, but I definitely want to share my experience on family constellation therapy that Harshita gave it to me. It's a very, very beautiful experience. I just had therapy this year, and I from the conversation, I do understand that it's a bit challenging to explain how it works, and hope my experience, talking about my experience, helps everyone who doesn't know how it works. So I got married in 2008 and got divorced in 2008. Within 2 months, it was arranged marriage. And then I got remarried in 2012. And it was a happy, it is a happy life, nice. There was no complaints. But somewhere I started feeling that there is a disconnect between me and my husband. But we did a lot of things together and traveled, and it was good. And that's when I reached out to Harshita. I was like, I'm not sure. There is something that I feel like there is a lot of things we do together, we enjoy, but I still feel that there is some disconnect. It's like something that he tells me, and probably I don't understand what he means. I don't have exact words, or there was no pressing issues, but I just felt that there is a disconnect. So she's like, let's do a session on family constellation. And when I got divorced in 2 months, I was like, okay, I moved on. There is no emotions, nothing. There is no baggage, anything. And with the family constellation, so the way it works is everybody comes one after another, the participants, and it's like my current husband, my parents, of course, myself, then my ex. And the thing that came up that was kind of shocked me, because I thought that I had already moved on. There were nothing, no hate or nothing, no attachment. But what came up was I was still holding on to the energies because it hurt my parents. That is something that came up in the therapy. And I'm like, okay, so that was cleared. And there was a lot of energy that was stuck, and that was cleared. Honestly, I did not understand during the session. I'm like, okay, I trust the therapy. And I was like, okay, this is good. I got the therapy. I know what it was going on. And that's what happened. And then I reached out to her last month, and it has been 12 years of me married. And I told Harshita that this is the period after the therapy. I feel like I'm so much connected to my husband that I'm truly married now again to him. And not just that we feel so connected now, that things that he says or I say, um, they're not just words. We understand each other more. I mean, it definitely looks like that after 12 years of marriage, you don't understand each other. But that was the case, that after doing so many things together, and now I feel that, okay, we are truly connected. And this is the beginning of my married life. Not only that, recently I started feeling that my prayers have changed. I'm more connected to uh, my divine, that I pray. So not that just the energy got cleared with my past marriage, but also on a whole level, that I feel so connected. I used to pray. I used to do Hanuman Chalisa. Uh, I used to pray Shivji every day. But the connect that I feel now is so much different. So it's not that just one thing got resolved, but it's just so beautiful to experience that those energies are clear and I feel so much connected. And everything, when I say connected, everything that I do, it feels perspective to look at the things, to look at the life has changed. So that was my experience, and I'm truly, truly thankful to Harshita.
Thank you, Mithil, for sharing
Thank
your
you for sharing.
experience. Mithil, is it okay if I use your example to just give a little more insights on this
Definitely, yeah,
session?
sure.
Harshita, just a second. If I give another example and that
Sure.
can okay,
That
I
would
will
be
just tell you the example. If it is worthy enough, you can take it. I just wanted to know like how this family constellation or family trauma can work out in this situation. So I had one student when I was teaching law, and she got married very early, like 21, 22. She was already married. And within 1.5 years, she has seen everything, like from marriage, conception of the child, widowhood, motherhood, within 1.5 years. So she got married, her husband was hardly like 26, 27. She conceived. After that, her husband passed away, and then she had a child. Now what can happen because she has and double responsibility now, like as a parent, or like she is working, she is earning also, she has to take care of the child also. Obviously her parents are helping her. Okay, if this can be a better example, or like you want to take other example, it's your wish.
So in this case, depending on what she wants further now in her life, we can look at what therapy works. If she is looking for getting another partner in her life and make space for that, we probably would need to explore all the past traumas and release the stored energies of these traumas. A regression can work, a family constellation can work, both can work in this case. The challenge is a lot of times we hold on to the baggage or the energies of the past. And if that's already filled up in our aura, in our body, then there's no space for something new to happen or somebody new to come in. We have to release the past for something new to happen or to manifest something or somebody else or something new in our lives. So if the person is looking to, let's say, settle down with a new life partner, we probably will need to first go back and see if all the energies from the past are released. And also any kind of manifestation, if we manifest from a space of void, it will bring us pain. It has to be manifested from a space of love. So if I needed something and I don't have something, but this person has it and I want it, or to heal this or to have a father for my son, I want a partner. That's not the true reason why to have a partner. So you're actually bringing somebody else in your life to fulfill a void for somebody else or for your own self. So when you try to manifest anything from a space of void, it will bring you pain. So the question that you had about this student, it completely depends on what the person wants, and basis that we can explore the therapy and the work that needs to be done. But definitely it can be released and a beautiful life can be explored further ahead. And it's doable. Provided the person wants it. Mithil's example, what I wanted to explore a little more and tell you guys is about when in her constellation session, what came up was she was still holding on to a lot of energies of her ex, the fear that came in from that relationship, the traumas, and the fear was intense. And that ex was still hovering in her entire energy field. Now, if she already has a man in her energy field, how can she have a nice, beautiful relationship with another man that she's looking for? Because that space is already occupied by somebody else. Right. That space has to be cleaned up before somebody else before you can see somebody else from those, from the pair of eyes that you want to see that person, right? And that's the thing that happens with all of us, a lot of traumas and stuff that we carry. It's the energy that has to be cleansed and taken off the baggage for something new to come in. Family constellation really helps us release a lot of those energies, which we don't know that they exist. And sometimes if it's too traumatic to go yourself into a regression and relive it, you do a constellation where you don't have to live, somebody else is representing it, you're just taking the wisdom from that. But the field is showing movement and the energy is getting released. So it's a beautiful modality. If you don't want to go through and relive it, you can use constellation.
Right.
It's like you create a constellation by people standing on a particular field, the nakshatras that we take, say. So you're creating your unique nakshatra over here, your constellation.
Right. Yeah, Amrita.
Yeah, I mean, I was just wondering. So if you, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I have been thinking since you said, right? I mean, when this repetition starts happening, I think that is how we have gotten there. So I have been into very intense karmic love relationships. So very intense. I mean, again, Rahu is in my fifth house. Nothing can, it will blow it out of proportion. Fifth house is all of your love and also Purva Punna Vava. My moon is in eighth house, where my mother's love, perhaps that's the reason. I mean, I have been expecting my partner to love me like a mother, which I have not received in my childhood. Is that your analogy, Harshita? I mean, that is how you have taken me there? I mean, how did it
Amrita?
happen? I mean, it is just so surprising. I mean, my mind is blown right now out of proportion. So how did
Amrita,
you reach there? I mean, how did you identify that it is my mother's womb, or the trauma that has been flown through my mother's womb that is creating this repeated attracting this karmic partners who is only hurting me. I mean, not knowingly, they were wonderful, beautiful people. I mean, the most amazing people I've met. I mean, I do not
Amrita,
hold any grudge.
I'll answer in a very funny way. क्या फर्क पड़ता है? आंख करने से मतलब रखो, गुठली मत गिरो.
क्या बोल
And
रहे हो?
trust.
सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है. क्या बोल रहे हो?
Okay, let me tell you something else.
I
How
can't
did I
hear
do it?
actually.
You asked how did I do it, right?
Yeah.
I paid shitload of money to study all this science. And that's how I did it. It's a beautiful science, and that's what we are taught, how to work with this. And that's what we did together. You were equally involved, you had the willingness to heal, and you healed it. I am just a medium. I am just a medium who helped you facilitate your life's journey and release the things that you had already decided to clean. So you were ready, and we worked on it, and that's all. Okay.
Right.
Ajit?
I had a question regarding family constellation. So I think you said that it's different from past life regression, as in you don't actually relive that experience, but rather, and one more thing is it necessary that the presence of a family member is needed in the family constellation session?
No.
Okay.
You've come to me with an issue. You are my client. We work with you.
Okay. So
So
how
let's
does it,
say,
yeah.
question.
Yeah. So how does it work? That's it.
Okay. So give me an example of, let's say, a random issue that you would want to heal. Doesn't necessarily have to be your issue, just a random thing.
Okay, so let's say someone has an issue with their son, a dispute with the son. So if that person wants to know what happened in the past, or maybe this life or another life that led to that entanglement, then what would you do in that case?
So when, let's say, Ajit, if you come to me, let's say, saying that I have an issue with my son and I want to heal that, right? If you tell me I want to know where it comes from a past and which life and all, it's a different contract. But if you say that you want to heal that relationship with your son, it's again a different contract. Okay?
Yeah, I think it's more about the healing part that I'm
Sure.
want to listen to. Yeah.
So what happens is, assuming if you're doing a constellation session for this particular issue, right? Like I want to heal my relationship with my son. Now, I have a group of folks who work with me, right? And just like right now, we are all on Zoom, we connect on Zoom. My table on which my laptop is, I have a desk which becomes the field where the energy is created, right? Let's say you will pick somebody to represent you. You select Moshmi to represent you. You select Radhaji to represent your son, right? And from there, we move. If you're doing it online, I will put two representations. Representations can be anything. We generally use little human puppets, but it can be as simple as, let's say, a pen or a book or a paper. Even with that, we can work, or some stones. But generally, we work with little humans because we are dealing with ourselves, right? And then I'll ask Moshmi and Radhaji that, okay, drop your personalities for this moment. Just allow thoughts, feelings, and emotions of whoever and whatever you're representing to flow through you. And they will start feeling things that probably whoever is representing you, let's say if Moshmi is representing you, she will start feeling that. She will say certain things which probably is what you would say or what you would feel. And that's how the whole session goes. It's facilitated. The issue where it's coming from will crop up on its own. The field will show us through the verbal feelings and emotions, and then the energetic entanglement is cleaned. So that's how a session is facilitated. Vis-a-vis, if you're doing a regression, then it is just between you and me, and we go back and see where the story started. And then from there, we figure out what the story is, what's the unfinished business, or is an undead life? Are there entities in your space? Are there something else? We clean up all those space.
And
Any modality you bring in, it will bring in the end the result.
And both are equally effective.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Raise question.
Yes, thank you for your presentation there, Haji.
Thank you.
The question is this. Okay, we bring up the cause, the causation of why this is like that. But what about the cure? I mean, you can understand the cause, but what about the cure? I didn't quite get what the curing procedures is. It's not only understanding that, okay,
Correct.
my great grandmother caused this and all of that, but what about the cure, the healing part? How does that take place?
That also happens in the constellation session. Sorry, go on.
I might have missed the curing part, so
No,
go
no,
ahead.
that's fine. So that also happens in the session, right? Like I was saying, the movement, when somebody is moving from one place to another, we're saying there's movement in the energy field of you, when your energy field, your relationship energy field. Each movement also brings healing. And then there are healing sentences that we use, the energy detanglement that we do. So it's again a process. It's a structured approach that is followed in a session. Once we diagnose the issue and that the entanglement is closed, the cure is brought in. And once that whole release is done, it's sorted. Again, if it's deep-seated, you might need multiple sessions. If it's not very deep-seated, sometimes it can just bring phenomenal, results in just one session. But the cure also happens on the field. And that's the process. So maybe if you attend any of these, just as an observer, you'll probably get some hang of it.
Okay. You see, because what I'm trying to understand here is, in my worldview, from what my guru has explained to me, that all these traumas, all these negative events are caused by impressions, stresses, samskaras, and these stresses gets stored in your body, in your mind, and all of that, and the stresses get released in a certain way. So you're saying that you are releasing, if you're going to cure the person, you're going to be releasing those stresses of that person in a way that they don't have that stress anymore. Is that correct?
That's right. We're talking about the energetic release, which is holding on to those emotions and feelings, right? The stress.
I'm just curious how that takes place, because in my way, I come from the Mahesh Yogi tradition. The stresses get healed just by silence, just by the experience of silence, of Shiva, Shantam, Avaitam. And by the experience of silence, these blocks, these stresses get released. That's the superior way of doing it. But you're saying you're doing something on, I don't know which level it is, but so that stress block gets released, that causes the suffering and all of that. Is that what you're saying?
We're working at an energy level. This is all energy work, right? Our body stores energy. Our body stores emotion. Emotions are stored in our energy. Sometime back, I was explaining about how we have our bodies, right? We have a causal body outside of us, the first layer of our body, which is probably also called thought body. So our thoughts manifest into our astral body or emotional body. So they becomes our emotions. The emotions further seep into our aura or the energetic body, which works on the electromagnetic waves, right? And that's our aura. From our auric body, they manifest further deep into our body, right? And then that's where our organs of our body, each organ stores a specific emotion. And that's a proven science. There are multiple scientific papers and books that people have written. And even in my healing journey, I've encountered that. So when these emotions are stored within our organs, within our body, in our cells, and as cellular memory, these emotions in the energetic form is released as part of a therapy, either a constellation session or an energy healing session or a regression session. A healing modality can be anything. Like you said, through silence, that is also a way of healing. There are different ways of healing ourselves that exist on this planet for us, right? What works for us is what we take forward. So there is not a particular way of healing. There are multiple different ways of healing ourselves.
Right.
Sometimes just going to an astrologer and understanding something is healing. Sometimes getting an energy healing session is healing. Going within into our silence, into meditation is healing. So there are different ways of healing.
Right. Well, thank you so much, because yes, there are many different healing modalities, and I'm just curious I'm just not sure how this healing works from a distance in the psychic level and all of that. So that's your level of expertise.
You just have to experiment. I don't know if you've watched this Hindi movie, Dear Zindagi. Some of you who would be able to relate to what I'm about to say. If not, I'll tell you what an example. There's a person in that movie who says, you have to try different chairs and see which chair is comfortable for you. He says this in a different context, but this example is valid for practically every context. You have to try different modalities and see what works for you, and then go ahead with that.
Right.
So sit on every chair and see which chair is comfortable for you. If this is the chair is comfortable, and I use that modality to go forward. Sometimes you might use 2-3 different chairs. So explore your own perfect zone, your sweet spot.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Can we talk about generational trauma versus vows?
Sure. So that's part of the constellation. In a constellation session, if there are certain oaths that some ancestor has taken, or if there are curses flowing through some ancestral lineage, all of that gets explored. So since we don't have much time, we won't touch upon that much. But technically, these kind of curses, oaths, vows, if somebody's taken a vow of, let's say, I'm never going to get married, some never and always statements when we make in any of our lives, they get etched to eternity, and then that starts impacting our other lives, the future lives. So all of these things can also be very beautiful. It will come out in a constellation session. The field will show itself, and then it can be released. The oaths can be released, the vows can be released, the black magic can be released, entities can be released, everything can be taken care of, whether it's a regression session or a constellation, depending on your readiness for its session. And sometimes I decide for the clients, if they can't decide, which is the right modality to use. So we don't have much time, we can't talk more about it. Just a quick little thing. And the third thing that I want to talk about was the Transcendental Quantum Reiki. Again, that's a beautiful modality, energy healing modality, which Giancarlo Zazziri, he's the one who's channeled it, and I learned back in Dubai as well when I was living there. This is, again, a very beautiful energy healing modality where, again, just like any other energy healing work, like a Reiki, it works where sometimes when your clients cannot do a regression session, let's say autism children, or somebody who's very old or in coma, or who cannot go through a long 2-hour tiring session, or there are language barriers, some of these things, then energy healing also works beautifully well. But one thing that I generally also say, at some point in time when the soul is ready to take responsibility of themselves and their karmas across time and space, you start getting into a journey where you do want to heal all your perpetrator lives as well, where you've not been on the positive side and where you've been on the dark side. And that's when a true jump in your consciousness, soul's consciousness, happens. But yeah, again, Transcendental Quantum Reiki is now called Shamanic Quantum Reiki by him, Giancarlo Azziri. He still teaches in Dubai, so Moshmi, if you want to learn, you can do that. Very beautiful modality. Here, the reason I've practiced this is while I've also done pranic healing and traditional Reiki and Lama, Fera, etc. I love working with this modalities because here you also heal the past lives. So when certain people are not ready to do it themselves, you can get into their past lives. It will show up, the psychic visions show up, and that can be done. And then you talk to the client and bring that awareness, and through that awareness and energetic cleansing, the healing happens. Any questions on that? We don't have much time, sorry, but I'm happy to take the questions.
No problem.
If physiology is okay with it, I'm fine.
It's fine. I have time. From my side, there is no restriction.
Thank you.
So what I feel like, what we were discussing, like so many like healing modalities, so many ways, because so many people.
Correct.
Okay. And everyone is unique. Everyone is supposed to get help in a unique way. One size doesn't fit all. Okay. So likewise, not necessary everyone will understand astrology. Not necessary everyone will understand like Reiki healing and all. So we find our faiths in different places. So that is why different ways of healing. Also, like even in astrology, if you remember in our courses, like we said, we discussed many different ways of predicting same thing. And I said, why there are so many different ways? Because so many different people. Okay.
Correct.
If you understand through mathematics, numbers, then there is a different way for you. If you understand through verses, there is a different way for you. So for everyone, there is a place.
Very well said, sir. Absolutely. And as we are heading towards ascension, there are so many wonderful souls who are just helping each of us, like each other. Somebody's helping me on my journey. I'm helping somebody else on the journey. We're all helping each other on the journey.
Right.
Through different modalities.
We all are walking each other home. right,
Yes,
around us.
absolutely, absolutely. And the fact that we're all together as a group, right? Even this is our soul karma together, right? We all also have our own soul karma. This group that we are together, the astrology group, we also have our own consciousness, our soul group.
Right.
Thank
Any
you.
question?
Anything from anybody else? Last words.
Hey, I have a
Any
question.
question? Yep.
Like
Please, Amrita.
always, too many questions. I have bothered Vishal sir with too many questions. Now it's your turn. So tell me, do you have Hasta Nakshatra in any of the list in your chart?
Hasta, is Hasta amplified? Is it good?
Whose question? Who are you asking this question to?
You, Harshi.
Me? I honestly don't remember the nakshatras that I have in
Actually,
my
you
chart.
don't remember the nakshatras. Okay. So
Yeah.
so how do we learn healing? Is there is there some resources that we can access and at least start the
Okay.
journey before we start on a serious note or on how you what you have become? I mean, I am not yet even imagining to go there, but however,
You can imagine
take the
though.
first. I'm just wondering because
Sure.
I have Hasta Nakshatra in my in two of my or one of my planet is placed in Hasta Nakshatra, and it's told that Hasta is a hands of healer,
Yeah. Hands up. Healing hands.
healing hand. So I don't know if it was an indication that I should
Explore.
start my journey
Explore.
in that road. Yeah, I want to explore. So if I have to
Sure.
do that, where should we begin in that
I
journey?
can definitely Amrita guide you on that one.
Right.
There are multiple different healing modalities.
Okay.
Just do some research. I'll tell you where to look for and all. See what calling you get, and then just take a call on that. But I'll run you through a lot of different modalities and then see what's your calling. Sit and meditate on the modalities, and you will know which one is for you.
Right, absolutely.
Harsi, thank you so much. It was wonderful. I learned so much from your session. Also, the last session that Vati had. Thank you so much. You both truly expands consciousness. My husband just texted me, "You look like our daughter," and I said, "Oh, okay, yes, on the little camera, yeah, same look
Thank
like."
you.
Just have to tell you that compliment, yeah.
I look
All
like
right,
who?
my daughter, our daughter.
Oh my God, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time.
Thank
And
you.
thank
Thanks,
you.
Harshita. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
ma'am. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you.